It's 7:43 on a Monday morning. You're sitting in front of your laptop, coffee going cold, and you're staring at a 40 megabyte Excel file. 6 months of project logs from your engineering side, row after row after row of numbers, timestamps, technician codes, and cost entries. You need one answer. 1. Why is the labor cost to output ratio quietly bleeding out? So you call your analyst. Hey, can you look at the site logs and flag what's going wrong with the costs? And the reply comes back, I'm actually out of the office this week, I can look at it when I'm back. And just like that, the decision stalls, the money keeps bleeding, and you wait. Sound familiar? Because that waiting, that right there, is one of the most expensive invisible taxes on a small or mid-sized business. You cannot see it on your P&L, but it is absolutely destroying your margins. Today, I want to show you how to eliminate that tax entirely, and the tool that just made it possible for a non-technical business owner to do this themselves in real time is Claude's new analysis tool. But first, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Mayer, and my entire mission, the reason I built this channel, is simple. I want to help you adapt to this fast-moving AI world in your daily professional work and make you genuinely more efficient at what you do. Not in a the robots are taking over way, not in a hype way, in a practical, grounded, business owner kind of way. I have spent years watching smart, capable professionals get left behind, not because they weren't good at their jobs, but because the tools move faster than anyone told them. The people who figured it out, they didn't become programmers or data scientists, they just learned which tools to use, when, and how. That is exactly what I do here. Every week, I test the latest AI tools against real business problems. I cut through the noise, I ignore the demos that only work in perfect conditions, and I only show you what actually moves the needle in the field. If that sounds like something you need, and I think it does, make sure you're subscribed, because the gap between people who use these tools and people who don't is widening every single quarter. Now, let's get into it. Just feed it your data and it'll tell you what's going on. And businesses bought into that promise hard. CRMs started adding AI summaries. Project management tools added AI reporting. And general purpose AI assistants, Chat, GPT, earlier versions of Claude, they all promised they could analyze your spreadsheets if you uploaded them. Here's the problem nobody talked about honestly enough. These tools were not actually doing math. They were doing something that looked like math. But underneath the surface, they were doing something closer to pattern matching and confident guessing. Think about what a large language model actually is at its core. It's a system trained on text, billions of documents, articles, pages of human writing, and it learned to predict what the next word should be based on everything that came before it. That is an extraordinary capability. It's why these models can write, explain, summarize, and reason so well. But raw numbers in a spreadsheet, statistical calculations across 10,000 rows, that is not what a language model was built to do. And the result? When you uploaded a big file and asked it to analyze your data, it would read the first chunk, get a bit lost in the middle, and then produce an answer that sounded analytically confident, but was sometimes mathematically wrong. And here's the nightmare scenario for a business owner. The numbers weren't wrong in an obvious way, like telling you your revenue was negative. They were wrong in a plausible way. Just off enough to be dangerous, just precise enough to look trustworthy. You cannot run an engineering firm on statistical guesses. A mostly accurate profit margin is not just useless, it is actively dangerous, because you'll make decisions based on it. Claude just launched a dedicated analysis tool, and I want you to understand what it actually does, because it is not just a feature update. It is a fundamentally different approach to how AI processes your data. Here's the key shift. Before, Claude was reading your spreadsheet like a person flipping through a document trying to hold numbers in their head. Now, when you upload a file with the analysis tool active, Claude writes real JavaScript code in a secure sandbox and then runs that code against your actual data. Let me say that again because it matters. It does not guess the answer. It writes a program that calculates the answer, and then it runs the program. Think about the difference between a poet trying to do your taxes, reading your bank statements and writing a thoughtful, well-worded summary, versus a CPA who takes those same statements, puts them into accounting software, and runs the numbers through proper formulas. Same inputs, completely different reliability. And here's what makes it even better. If the code Claude writes has an error, it sees that error, corrects it, and runs it again. It debugs itself in real time. The math is not approximately right. It is objectively correct, and because it was calculated by an actual program running against your actual numbers. For business owners who have ever stared at an AI output and thought, I'm not sure I trust this, this is the feature that removes that doubt. Let me give you a bit of real-world context, because I think the example is going to make everything click. Picture a mid-size HVAC engineering firm, 15 to 40 field technicians. Each technician generates daily field reports, hours logged, parts used, job type, callback flags if a job needed a revisit. That data feeds into a CRM, gets exported as a CSV, and then sits there, waiting for someone with Excel skills and enough time to dig into it. The question the ops manager is always trying to answer: where is the money going? And is it preventable? And for months, maybe years, that question gets answered once a quarter by a report that someone spent 3 hours building, that's already outdated by the time it lands in the boardroom. That's the environment I want you to hold in your mind as I show you what this looks like in practice. Alright, let's make this real. Here's our scenario. Same HVAC firm. 6 months of field reports, thousands of rows, technician IDs, hours worked, callback flags, job categories, weather data. I have not cleaned it, I've just exported the raw CSV from the project management tool and dragged it straight in. Now, before this tool existed, here's what you'd need to do to answer even one question. Are junior technicians generating more callbacks than seniors during cold weather? You'd need to filter by seniority. Cross-reference callback flags. Layer in a date filter for cold weather periods. Then build a comparison chart. That's 2 to 3 hours of pivot table work, minimum. If you're learning as you go, double that. Here's what it looks like now. I drag the raw CSV into Claude. Analysis tool is already enabled. That graph icon in the toolbar, you can see me click it right there. And now I type my question, and here's the key, I am not being vague. Listen to the exact prompt. Analyze this field report data, create a bar chart comparing callback rates for junior versus senior technicians during months where average temperature dropped below -10 Celsius. Highlight which job category had the highest callback rate for junior technicians. Watch what happens. You can see Claude writing JavaScript in the sidebar. It's treating our CSV like a database. It parses the columns, filters by temperature data, groups by technician seniority, calculates callback rate per group, and builds the visualization, and there it is. 30 seconds. A clean labeled bar chart showing that junior technicians had a 34% higher callback rate during sub-zero periods, and that heating system recalibration jobs were the specific category driving it. That answer just told an ops manager exactly where to focus their winter training program. That is a real actionable money-saving insight, delivered in under a minute from a raw, uncleaned data file. And here's the part I love. I can click the code toggle and see exactly what math was run. It's not a black box, it's transparent, auditable, and reproducible. When you walk into your Monday morning leadership meeting and someone asks, how was this calculated? You can show them. That's professional grade analysis. Now let's talk about what this actually means for your business, because the value is bigger than saving time on reports. When you can analyze a 10,000 row data file in under a minute, something psychological shifts. You start asking questions you used to ignore, not because you didn't care about the answer, but because you knew it would take 3 hours to find it. And 3 hours felt like too much to spend on a hunch. That hunch was protecting a $5,000 leak in your overhead. Here's what I want you to really internalize. The analysis tool doesn't just speed up a process you already had, it collapses the distance between a problem existing and a decision maker seeing it. In a traditional workflow, that gap might be days, it might be weeks. During that gap, the problem continues, costs accumulate, and by the time you have the report, you're already in damage control instead of prevention mode. With this tool, that gap can be minutes. That's not just an efficiency gain. That is a strategic advantage. The businesses that figure this out first are going to be making better decisions faster, and the ones that don't are going to keep wondering why they can't stay ahead of their margins. Now, and I want to be very clear about this tool is not right for everyone. And I'd rather tell you honestly than have you waste time using it wrong. First, if you are working with HIPAA-compliant patient data, classified government information, or any dataset your legal or compliance team has flagged as restricted, do not use this. Claude is cloud-based. Your data is being sent to a server. Check with your compliance officer first. Second, if your data is dirty in a human error way, technicians who spell the same client name 4 different ways, duplicate entries, inconsistent date formats, the AI will count those as separate records. It is a sophisticated calculator, not a mind reader. Third, if you're looking for a tool to make your final legal or financial decisions for you, the chart this tool produces is a starting point, not a final answer. Use it to ask better questions, then verify with a professional. I'd rather you use this correctly for 6 months than use it wrong once and lose trust in it permanently. So, the final verdict: I've been testing AI tools for business for years now, and I've seen a lot of features that looked revolutionary in a demo and fell apart the moment you gave them real, messy, real world data. This is different. Claude's analysis tool is the first time I've genuinely felt like AI data analysis is safe for a real business. And I mean safe in the most important way. I mean, I trust the math. I can see the code. I can audit the logic. I can defend the output in a meeting. It's not magic. It doesn't replace your judgment. It doesn't replace your experienced analyst. But it gives you a junior analyst. One that never takes sick days, doesn't need onboarding, works at 2 in the morning and never makes arithmetic errors. If you are an ops manager, a business owner, a team lead, and you are still building pivot tables manually every week, stop. This week, put Claude to work instead. The ROI on even 1 hour saved per week compounded over a year is not a small number. Before you go, I want to leave you with something that isn't just about this tool. Here's the thing about the moment we're in right now. Every few months, something meaningful shifts. A new capability drops. A workflow that used to take hours gets compressed into minutes. A task that required a specialist becomes something a motivated person can do themselves. And every time that happens, there's a window. A window where the people who learn the new approach fast get ahead, and the people who wait because they're busy, because it looks complicated, because they'll get to it later, fall further behind. I don't say that to scare you. I say it because I genuinely believe that most people, given the right information shown in a practical way, can adapt faster than they think. That is what I'm here for. Every week on this channel, I'm testing what's new, breaking down what matters, and showing you exactly how to apply it to the work you actually do every day. So, if you want to keep learning, if you want to stay at the front of your industry, and make sure you're the one in the room who already knows how this works, subscribe to this channel right now, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single update, because the tools are moving fast, and with the right guidance, so are you. I'm Mayur. I'll see you in the next one.